Around the next bend, two cities come into view. The abandoned elder city and the human town of Lagash. The first dead, the second dying. The crumbling elegance of the former dwarfs the squalidness of the latter. Your own slum of the Reach lays between the two like a rotting buffer. It's not a place you love, but the thought of setting aside the heavy sacks cheers you. You stop suddenly, smile collapsing. A chill moves across your shoulders, though you see nothing. Crouching, you slide both sacks to the ground. A milky blue stone hangs under your shirt on a leather thong, a gift from your papa long ago, a gift no one else knows you have. With it in hand, you push out with your mind, and it hums in your fingers. Your thoughts flow outward, sensing the attention of anyone nearby. They wait ahead. 6 men, for assuredly they are men, hide in the surrounding brush. The nearest just paces away. You feel their attention wavering back and forth like lanterns in a breeze. They have not yet caught sight of you. You look wildly about. You need to run fast and far, but hesitate. By the sacred whore, how could you be so stupid? Sure, you've been careful, but a single glance at the surrounding hills reveals dozens of places outside your power's range, places where they could have spotted you. The men stir. Something that is not an owl attempts to hoot like one. Immediately their attention sharpens and eyes move in your direction. A rustling comes from the bush to your left. They are coming. Still crouched, you reach for the larger bag. One will be enough. Bent over to remain unseen, you scuttle back up the trail, moving without a sound. Your free hand repeatedly touches a stone around your neck, something you do when you're frightened. A yell from the left brings you out of your crouch. You flee, but the swinging sack slows you down. Leaving the path, you try to lose them in the brush. A stick breaks nearby, then another. Footfalls. They are close. Something crashes through the undergrowth. Several somethings from different directions. A howl from behind is echoed by others to the side. They've seen you. Moving faster, you stumble over branches and rocks. Don't look back, you tell yourself. Just run, Ellie, run. Too heavy, the sack slips from exhausted fingers. Apples and potatoes roll along the trail. You almost go back. Almost. Maybe it will distract them. A branch lashes your face in the growing dusk, causing you to stagger. The sounds of pursuit near. You are fast, but these are well-rested men, while weariness drags at you like a wet cloak. Their yells and crashing footsteps come from either side, narrowing your options. All you catch are glimpses. A trouser leg here, a red sleeve there. A cliff rears up, and on impulse you turn to the right. In the rush you had lost your bearings, but you now recognize where you are. An opening in the rock face nears, and you flee into its narrow canyon. It will protect your flanks, but hinder escape. Perhaps you've made a mistake. Those who survive are those who never give up. The light fades and the world turns gray. Trees and rocks slip behind. A few hundred more paces and the canyon will open onto a forested shelf. A chance. They still follow, though gasps and moans have replaced the howls. Your own lungs burn with the effort, and your legs scream as if on fire, but you dare not slow. You may lose them in the dark trees. Your gasping drowns any sounds of pursuit, and you grow more afraid. Don't look, you tell yourself. Just run, just. But you can't help yourself and turn your head. They have fallen behind some. Maybe. Your foot catches on a rock and you fly. Forsaken fool. You try to roll but hit the ground hard. The scant breath in your lungs departs with a grunt. Back on trembling feet, it is already too late. The nearest pursuer passes you to block the upper canyon. 2 other men stop and spread out below, hands on their knees, sucking in air. The other 3 collapse as they stagger up a few seconds later. Your reckless bid for escape has become a trap. Chest and throat burning, you stand against the canyon wall, wishing the rock face would open to let you pass. Fear while running is one thing. Fear while standing helpless is a different animal altogether. Though you've wondered 1,000 times what you would do when assaulted, nothing now comes. Your mind throws images at random. Cat, the great tabby who adopted you. the crumbling tower that has been your home. Mama frozen to death on the ziggurat steps. Hands tremble as your eyes move from man to man in an unending procession. Ellie, you can't panic, you repeat over and over, but your heart beats so fast it hurts. The gray of the canyon walls fades to charcoal in the deepening shadows. Minutes more and the darkness would have swallowed you. If given time, you could climb from here, but these men will not be so generous. A large tree stands behind the first man, and several bushes sprout from crevices here and there. They might offer cover to elude 1 or 2, but not 6. Other than that, there are only stones. Stones! The sling. You place both shaking hands in the small bag at your waist. Your stomach twists as if it is falling. The raw apples and potatoes sit poorly. You stare at the lead pursuer. He's bent over, hands on knees, while he catches his breath. He's thick without being fat. His clothes aren't expensive, but carry neither tears nor patches. Dank black hair hangs to either side of a scarred brown face dripping with sweat. His eyes never shift from yours. He smiles at you like the predator he is. You know him, of course. All the poorest of the Reach do. A dad. As Lagash's prosperity declined, he became a terror to those without friends. You have nothing to steal, but know that he has no intention of simple robbery. At last he stands and ambles forward, grinning. Well, me mates, what we have here is the Elder Witch of Hell's Reach. Me wondered long and hard where ye hid in the night, but now that don't matter, do it? Here ye are in the perfect place for let's call it a private meeting. And she led us quite a chase, didn't she, boys? Murmurs of agreement interrupt the heavy breathing. Girl gonna pay for that, said a deeper voice. Your eyes remain on a dad. He's the danger. You're terrified, but part of you grows angry and looks for a way to hurt these men. Me wonders what she has in her little bag, he says, still grinning, pointing at the pouch where your hands hold a sling. And more so, what other goodies she may have hidden about her person. But more than all, me wonders how much someone would pay for an elder witch. I'm betting it would be a mighty coin, boys. Just look at those elder eyes. A brilliant blue they are. I know a lord or two that'd pay fiercely just for those, even after we're done with her. A cold laugh comes from below. He steps within a couple of paces, savoring your fear. He enjoys the helplessness of others, has grown fat on it. You know you have but one chance and can't move a moment too soon. You try to keep control, but as he approaches, your stomach cramps hard. With little warning, the remains of the day's lunch stream out, splattering his hands and shirt. An ugly look replaces the grin. He holds out dripping fingers as if deciding what to do with them. You forsaken whore. He bends over to wipe them on a clump of grass at his feet. I make you regret that double, I will. This is it. The sling slides from the bag as smooth as oiled glass. You pray the stone doesn't fall from the pouch, and it doesn't. As a dad opens his mouth to speak, you swing it once around your head. He sees your move, and grinning again steps forward and raises his forearm to block the blow. His arm stops the sling's cord a full foot from the end, but the pouch itself curves around, striking him on the left temple. You wince at the moist crunch. His grin evaporates as he collapses, his legs folding at unlikely angles. Blood pools on the stone underneath his head. The world freezes and you stare at what you've done. The remaining men gape at the same. In shared shock, you've become equals, but only for a moment. Did you kill him? Your hands still gripping the sling tremble. Breath comes rapid and shallow, and bright spots swim through your eyes. Whether from vomiting or the violence you do not know. Run, Ellie, run! Breaking the spell, you sprint around the tree and up the canyon, sling abandoned in the dirt. Within a couple of seconds, cries of rage and the rush of feet follow, but the sounds of their pursuit are different now, furious rather than excited. If they catch you, you'll not see the morning. The steep hill sucks at the energy you have left. So much has already taken its toll. Long, hungry nights, the difficulty of today's harvest, then this pursuit. All that remains in you is stubborn will and terror. Though you are desperate, your spent legs can't move any faster. Muscles burn and feet stagger. This time you refuse to look at the predators you can clearly hear behind you. You are going to be caught. You are going to be killed. Over the western mountains, the sun is a dim memory. Their peaks are in shadow. The faint light under the surrounding trees is nearly gone. Just a few minutes more. But that is an eternity. Each step is agony, every breath tattered. The only weapon remaining is a small knife. It isn't much, but it'll give you a claw. Unbidden, the other hand reaches for the flowstone. Legs flounder again and the thong breaks, leaving the stone free in your fingers. The canyon is ending, and faint hope rises as a rock face falls away. Then something heavy strikes your back, and you stumble and fall hard. Trousers tear and pain spikes through your left knee. The right shoulder goes numb. You scream in frustration and fear. You try to rise, but they are on you. Someone grabs your nerveless arm and flings you over, pinning you at the weight of their body. The beast inside you slashes blindly with the knife and hits something. Hot liquid splatters your face, and a shriek rends the air. This surprises you, not imagining the tiny knife could have such an effect. You open your eyes on a gash across the nose and cheek of the bearded man on top of you. His fingers go to his face. You slash again, opening the flesh on the backs of both his hands. You are strangely pleased by how sharp you've kept the blade. Again and again you stab and slice, sometimes striking, sometimes not. Then the others pile on, forcing the scant air from your lungs. Hands seize your flailing arms. One tears the knife from your fingers, cutting two of them deeply. A stunning blow lands across your eye, and the world blurs. You stop struggling, trying to conserve energy. Their weight on your chest makes breathing difficult, and you concentrate on sucking air into your lungs. Eyes dart from attacker to attacker. They are all gasping as well. Cool dots of spittle speckle your face. They're nearly as spent as you are, but they are still 5 and you remain 1. Maybe only 4. The man you have cut crawls to the side, blood soaking his front. He quietly whimpers as he holds his shredded flesh. Another tears off part of his shirt for a bandage. 3 are on top of you. One gathers enough breath to strike you once more, just for spite. The blow lands across your eye again, darkening your vision. His voice comes out hoarse and halting, the pauses filled with deep gasps. Forsaken witch, the last thing you're gonna hear this night is your own screams. You don't move, can't, waiting against all hope for some chance. What's that in her hand there? Asks the second man, pointing to the fist with the protruding thong. The flowstone. Your terror-filled mind is suddenly furious. They can't take your papa's gift. Savagely, you yank your arm back, pulling the flowstone close to your chest. The effort surprises them, but only for a second. 2 of the men grip you as one pulls the hand toward their face. What we got here, witch, he says, prying fingers open one by one. The flowstone is your most precious possession. They can't take it, cannot. Fury boils in your heart, displacing the terror. No, the beast inside you rages. No, no, no. Your shrieks echo from the nearby cliff. Instinctually, you close your eyes and push hard through the stone, harder than ever before. You do not expect a reaction. There is simply nothing left to do. Then, deep within you, a door opens, one that did not exist a moment before. All the hatred and anger and terror pour into it and emerge as something else. The stone grows hot. Blue flames crackle through the air. Your fingers fall numb, and light as bright as the sun explodes from your hand, blinding even your closed eyes. Your spine arches and the crushing weight disappears. The breaking of wood mingles with the screams of men. Debris rains across your face and body. Then quiet descends, one so deep it seems eternal. You wait, listening, eyes still closed. At first there is nothing, no sound, no breath. Then the usual noises of the forest return in the distance. A light breeze rattles leaves, insects hum. A distant flyer calls as it settles in for the night. Then a groan comes from the left. You brush dirt from your face and open your eyes. The men are gone. You are alone in the dimness. Broken branches lay all about, and the smell of burning meat and ash fill the air. Another groan. A dozen paces distant, a crying man limps away, dragging his foot along the ground. He holds his face with bloody fingers. He sees you and freezes, but instead of attacking, he flees faster. The whimpers fade in the growing distance. You rise, brushing off dirt and debris with unsteady arms. Something sticky coats your hair, and probing fingers return wet. Two men lay face down against a low boulder. Nothing moves except smoke from their clothing. For a full minute you don't budge, expecting them to rise and to give chase once again. Nothing. Hands trembling, you approach. No movement. The clothes of both smolder in places. Smoke and the discomforting smell of grilled meat sicken you. After a long wait, you nudge a leg with an extended foot, ready to flee. There is no reaction. Neither body is breathing. Somewhere under your numbness is fear. You feel it lunging against the walls of its cage. Your dulled instincts scream for you to retreat, yet you need to know what happened. As slow as a growing vine, you reach for the shoulder of the nearest body. The flesh is hot but unmoving. A pull and it rolls over. Dead eyes stare out of a blackened face. You take a quick step back. Even in the growing darkness, the burns are obvious. His clothing lays in tatters. Scorch marks cover his torso. You almost don't recognize him. Almost. Dead fingers clutch your knife. You open your own hand to reveal Papa's gift. Still hot, it emits a soft blue light, brighter than before. Without thinking, you retrieve the knife from the limp palm and place it in your pouch. A scuffle of a boot on rock comes from behind, and you spin, ready to flee. A man staggers to his feet a dozen paces away, one arm held at an awkward angle. Smoke rises from his clothing and hair. The shock on his burned face mirrors that on your own. "Witch," he whispers, eyes wide. Then his expression changes. The shock slides into fear. "Please, miss, please." You stare in wonder as he backs into the darkness, increasing his pace with every step. Finally, he turns and flees outright. Your gaze remains on the shadows left behind. After another minute, you take the same path as the two survivors. It could be a trap. They could be waiting, but you are too numb and tired to care. Stumbling forward, you hold the glowing flowstone high to better see the rocky trail. A few hundred paces down the gorge, you arrive at a dad's body lying in the same awkward position. The murder weapon lay a few feet away, dropped in the chase. You retrieve it, seeing the blood on the pouch. You continue your descent. It is only after returning to your tower do you think to search the bodies for valuables. A few coins would be far more useful than all the food from the Ditanu orchards. You could go back in the morning, but you know you'll never return to that canyon again. Coins be damned. Still freezing from the icy swim through the culvert under the city wall, you crawl into bed. Sensing your misery, Cat crawls under the blankets and cuddles close the rest of the night. Both your bodies wrap around the warm flowstone.